What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and this is my full hands-on review of the Google Nexus 5. It's manufactured by LG and comes to you directly from Google, offering some very high specs at a low price. But does it live up to the hype? Well, do hit that thumbs up button, let's find out. Starting off with the size, very similar dimensions to something like the Samsung Galaxy S4, and it also weighs the same, just 130 grams, so very light and fits nicely in the hand. You've got very clean and simple design, and I really like the minimal look. It's available in either the full black or the black and white versions. I say black and white versions because the white version has a black front and a white back. Other than just the colour, there are some minor cosmetic differences between the two, and MKBHD has covered those really well in a short video which I will link to in the description below. Now the material is a soft touch plastic very similar to the 2013 edition of the Google Nexus 7, and in my opinion it feels premium, very nice in the hand, comfortable to hold, grippy, and doesn't attract fingerprints that easily, especially compared to a glossy plastic. So far everyone I've given the Nexus 5 to hold has really liked it. In terms of the screen, you've got a 4.95 inch IPS Plus display, so just shy of 5 inches, with a full HD resolution, so 1920 by 1080 pixels, giving it an amazing 445 ppi pixel density. It's bright, sharp, with good viewing angles. Images, text and video are very crisp and clear, and you won't see any pixels even if you try. The blacks aren't as deep as a Super AMOLED display. Nothing major for me personally, it might be a problem for some, but overall I'd say this is a very nice display. Performance wise, you've got a quad core 2.3 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor with the Adreno 330 GPU. So some of the high spec internals out there, right up there with the Galaxy Note 3, and you've also got 2 GB of RAM. Benchmarks put this amongst the top of the league, higher than the iPhone 5s and quite a bit higher than the Samsung Galaxy S4. I've done side by side benchmark and performance tests with both the iPhone 5s and the Samsung Galaxy S4, so do go ahead and check those videos out, links of which will be in the description below. Now with that processor, the GPU combined with the latest version of Android, in terms of actual performance, this is an absolute powerhouse. Very fast and snappy. I didn't have any issues in terms of speed whatsoever. General usage, multitasking, even gaming have been very smooth. And if speed is your thing, I really don't think you're going to be disappointed with the Google Nexus 5. Storage options, you have the 16 and 32 GB versions only with no expandable storage. Now I have the 16 GB version here, and out of the 16 GB, you've got roughly about 12.5 GB of available storage, which isn't bad and will be fine for most users out there. However, if you are somebody who stores a lot of data on your phone, then the 32 GB version would be advisable. Cameras, you have a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera capable of filming 720p HD and an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera with optical image stabilization that films at 1080p HD. And a lot of you were asking about this, so I have done a full in-depth camera comparison of the Nexus 5 versus the Samsung Galaxy S4 as well as the iPhone 5s, and those are on the channel, so do go ahead and check those out. Links will be in the description below. But overall, I'd say the front-facing camera is pretty standard, nothing special, should be okay for your selfies and video calling. The rear-facing camera, however, did impress me. I wasn't expecting too much from it, to be honest, but I do like it. Good details and colours, and impressive low-light performance too, which I think comes down to the optical image stabilization. The new HDR Plus mode is pretty good too, and you can get some nice dynamic range resulting in great images. Video quality is also really good, and the optical image stabilization really does help. In terms of audio recording, pretty decent. Still records in mono with a single channel of audio. I would have preferred stereo sound with dual channels, but it's not the end of the world and you still get pretty decent audio. Two things to note. Firstly, when filming video in low light, although the result was pretty bright, it was a little choppy. Now I looked into this and it turns out that the frames per second drops to 20 frames a second in low light compared to 30 frames a second in good light. Here is the metadata from Adobe Premiere. Now I didn't change any settings, so it looks like it does this by default, and although the lower frame rate gives a brighter result, it does make the video choppy and I couldn't find a way to change this, so do bear that in mind. Also, you can't touch the focus while in video mode, so you have to rely on the autofocus on the camera, which isn't too bad, but it doesn't give you that full flexibility. Now moving on to the operating system, you've got the latest version of Android, which is 4.4 KitKat. Now this is a key advantage of the Nexus 5. You get that vanilla Android experience without any third-party skins. That alone for many is the biggest pull to this device. Not only that, but you will be getting direct updates from Google without having to wait around for third parties to bring them to you. And if you've used a third-party device such as a Samsung, HTC or Sony, etc., you know how frustrating it can sometimes be to wait months to get the latest updates. Now apart from the expected speed and performance updates, touching on a few of the additional features that come with KitKat, SMS has now been combined into Hangouts. This did take a little getting used to, but after a bit it was easy enough. Google Now can be accessed by a swipe up from the home button as usual, or you can also swipe left from the home screen. You can also access Google Now by simply saying OK Google from the home screens. But this didn't work for me initially as my language was set to English UK. Quite frustrating actually. But then I learned that it currently only works if your language is set to English US. So for any UK users out there shouting "OK Google" and thinking why the hell this isn't working, that's the reason why. The phone app has also been massively improved. You now have predictive dialer, so you can use the number keypad to quickly search your contacts. It automatically prioritizes your contacts based on the people you talk to most. And now, as well as your contacts, you can search nearby places right from within the dialer. I really like this feature, and just on the weekend I was ordering some takeaway. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I order a lot of takeaway. Right from the dialer, I was able to find and call a takeaway, which was awesome. Traditionally, I would have had to go onto Google, search for it, and then dial it from there, but this was absolutely great. And you finally have built-in emojis in the Google keyboard. So these are smiley face characters and symbols which you can now use pretty much anywhere in any app. Other features include improved NFC payments, improved printing, newly designed Quick Office and others. Lots of these have been covered in detail in other videos on YouTube, so I won't go into too much here. You can go ahead and check those out. Some additional features a lot of you were asking about. Firstly, the LED pulse notification. Yes, the Nexus 5 does have an LED pulse notification light which flashes in different colors depending on the alert. So for instance, Facebook alert will flash blue, a Twitter alert will flash green, a message alert will flash white, and so on. Now, this was switched off by default. Not sure why. Seems odd that they would have this switched off by default, as it is very useful, but you can easily switch this on within the display settings. Another thing a lot of you were asking about is the SIM card. I can confirm that the Nexus 5 uses a micro SIM card. The speaker on the device isn't too great, to be honest, pretty standard. I found it a little tinny, and I would advise picking up some nice headphones, as the Nexus 5 doesn't actually come with any headphones. Now the battery, a lot of you were asking about this. You've got a 2300 mAh battery which is not removable, and well, it's decent. Nothing in the league of the LG G2 or the Galaxy Note devices. And if you're a light to medium user, I think you'll get through the day just fine, but if you're a heavy user, I do think you'll need a top up. In terms of my usage, I would consider myself a medium user, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. I take my phone off charge roughly about 7 to 8 AM in the morning, and I keep either Wi-Fi or 3G data on throughout the day. So that's 3G, I don't have 4G LTE. And my usage mainly consists of social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, some instant messaging, so WhatsApp and Facebook chat, a few pictures here and there, and a few phone calls here and there. Now I don't watch many videos or play many games, and this type of usage got me through the day on most occasions. But if I was using the camera quite a bit and had a lot of backups happening in the background with Dropbox and Google, then I did find myself looking for a charger by roughly about 9 PM. So I'd say it's okay, not great. Now finally, what really makes this device stand out is the price. You can pick this up for £299 here in the UK or $349 in the US. That's for the 16GB version. The 32GB version, £339 in the UK or $399 in the US. And that's off contract, which makes it almost half the price of most of the other flagships out there. Absolutely insane. A phone of these specs at this price is something we don't see very often. So there we have it, the Google Nexus 5. Overall a great smartphone, and any of the negatives are made up for by that amazingly low price. And if you have the value for money, then this is definitely the best option out there at the moment. Along with that vanilla Android experience, I won't have any problems recommending this phone. What do you think of the Google Nexus 5? Will you be getting it? Do you have it? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway. So yeah.